And I think we're live, Farzan, right?
I think we are.
Fantastic. Well, hello, everybody. So glad you could join us this afternoon. If you've ever felt like AI is this exciting, slightly intimidating spaceship that's landed in the middle of your workflow, you are definitely not alone. So we are here today because small and mid-sized businesses deserve the same unfair advantages the big players enjoy, and AI can absolutely be one of them. So over the next 30 minutes, we're going to walk you through why AI matters, how to use it safely without breaking anything, and what practical first steps you can take right after this session. And we promise no buzzwords, no flying robots, just real tools, real tips, and a few things you might want to steal and start using tomorrow. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping before we dive in. If you have questions during the webinar, please use the Q&A button at the top or the bottom of your screen, depending on where you've got it situated. You can send them anonymously, and we'll treat all questions anonymously when we read them out. Feel free to chime in via the chat. We love interaction, reactions, and feedback. If you want to contact us directly, you'll find our contact info in our virtual backgrounds throughout the session. We always get asked, will I get a copy of the recording? Yes, absolutely. Everyone who registered will get a link to the recording within 48 hours. We've set your Zoom to gallery view. We recommend keeping it that way. And we also have just a quick poll, chance for some audience participation, nothing too scary. So let's go in with some quick introduction to our speakers today. I know that some of you on this call were expecting to see Forrest. Unfortunately, he got taken ill over the weekend, and so Farzan and I will do our best to steer the ship without him. So I'm Lou Lam. I'm VP of Marketing and Operations here at 182. I've spent the last 15 plus years helping high growth companies figure out how to scale smartly. I'm also joined by Farzan Almanieh, who is the founder and CEO of 182 and the strategic mind behind how we're approaching AI with our clients. Farzan spent his career helping businesses make smart, sustainable tech decisions, and more recently, helping them navigate this new AI era without losing sight of what really matters, real results. And so, just a little about 182. We help small and mid sized businesses work smarter, whether it's through better tools, smarter workflows, or new ways to save time and reduce stress. We partner with firms in all kinds of industries, legal, accounting, energy, and more, who want to cut through the noise and get to what actually works. So let's dive right into AI. Farzan, do you want to kick us off?
Thank you, Lou, for that lovely introduction. Also, I want to thank everybody for joining us here today to talk about AI. So let's talk about what is AI. AI isn't science fiction, it's a screwdriver, a tool that turns effort into impact. And there's a deeper reason it matters, our time. Time is the one resource we can't print more of, right, Lou?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's never enough time. How often have we all wanted to clone ourselves, right?
Right. AI, if used wisely, buys back hours so you can invest them where humans outperform machines in creativity, relationship building, and strategic thinking. Everything after the slide answers a single question. How do we reclaim time without risking our data, our jobs, or our sanity? So, what is AI really? Some of us hear AI and picture Terminator. Let's diffuse that, Lou.
Yeah, okay, so myth number one, I need a PhD to use AI. But the fact is, great tools today hide the math so that you can focus on results. Myth number two, AI will take my job. Fact, AI takes tasks, not purpose. The paradox is that the more routine work AI absorbs, the more valuable your uniquely human judgment becomes, right?
Right. Think of AI as a junior colleague who never sleeps, never complains, but desperately needs your guidance. So, hey, Lou, I think we have a quick poll, right?
We do, and let's see if I can get it. We would like to do a quick poll to understand how you are currently using AI in your business. And let's give everybody a quick opportunity to answer that.
And they come rolling
And there
in.
come rolling in. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to end that poll. Oh, still got a couple coming in. We're still going. Three, two, one. Okay, let's share those results. So this is actually a little bit different than I was expecting. Usually we expect the most responses to fall in the middle there, and we've got some there experimenting and interested. We have got some AI overachievers in the room today as well, which is fantastic to hear.
Mhm.
And for those of you that are skeptical, I think that's really healthy. And our goal here today isn't to convince you with any hype, but more to show you what's actually useful. And I'm really happy to see that nobody clicked what's AI. But look, regardless of where you are on the spectrum, you're in the right room today. I mean, industry-wide, we're seeing a mix of curiosity, hesitation, and some early adopters. And so let's take a quick look at what some of that data shows. So looking at the big picture, most businesses, especially SMBs, know that AI could be a game changer. In fact, nearly 90% say they believe it gives a competitive edge, but only half of SMBs are actually using it. And even when they are, it's often being driven by curious team members without formal training or a clear strategy in place. And so, why the gap? Well, you're not alone if you're feeling a little overwhelmed. There are a lot of tools and a lot of hype, and not always a clear path from we should use AI to here's how we do it responsibly and effectively. And so, for many SMBs, the hesitation is real. The biggest one being privacy concerns or misuse. We also have limited time, challenges of figuring out which tools actually make a difference. And maybe by the time that you have that figured out, the technology landscape has changed again. But here's the good news: the awareness is there, the desire is there, and today is all about turning that awareness and desire into action. So we're going to have some practical, real-world ideas to help you get started confidently. And so, Fazan, take us through some of those real-world applications.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much buzz about AI and there's so many different tools, and it's really exciting, but at the same time, it can be real challenging and somewhat polarizing. Um, so let's translate that buzz into tasks. For example, executive. AI summarizes 40-page reports into a one-pager, so decisions happen in minutes, not days. In sales, drafting prospecting emails analyze CRM notes and surface hidden buying signals. Marketing, spin a webinar, like this one right here, into blogs, social posts, and micro videos automatically. Admin and ops, transcribe meetings and build up follow-up checklists before the Zoom window even closes. HR, draft job descriptions and pre-screen resumes so you start interviews on third base. Lou, notice a pattern?
Yeah, I do. Basically, AI eats repetition and spits out focus.
Yeah. So let's talk about HeyGen. While many people here have used probably ChatGPT or they might have dabbled in Copilot with Microsoft, there's a lot of other tools out there. And one of them is called AI. And so, for example, I used to spend 2 days recording orientation videos. Now with HeyGen, I create a lifelike digital twin of myself. New hires get consistent onboarding and I get my weekend back. Now that's what I mean about reclaiming time. This is the same for social media posts. Everybody, let's meet Farzan.ai.
Hey there, I'm Farzan.ai, and yes, I'm the AI version of the guy who has been presenting to you. Pretty cool, right? In the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly how to leverage AI to help your business, whether that's recruiting, marketing, customer service, or any other area where your expertise matters. The best part? You don't need to be a tech expert to make this happen. Let's dive in and see how AI can amplify what you already do best.
Pretty neat.
Amazing. Amazing, right?
Right, exactly. And so one of the big concerns with AI is people are worried about the authenticity. Is it your brand? Is it your message? Is it you? Right? And what I can tell you is AI can be very authentic and very unique. This is a perfect example. And there's a lot of ways we can leverage AI, but we can reach in more areas, do more in less time. And that's what we really need to do here. All right, so let's look at another angle. Marketing. We all got to work on that, right? So for example, after our last webinar, we fed the recording into AI. AI cut it automatically into snackable clips, turned the transcript into a downloadable report, spun up blog drafts, generated an email nurture series, scheduled 20 social posts, all within a single afternoon. The same content, 5 times the reach. Now that's what I'm talking about when I say leverage.
Yeah, that was a game changer.
Yeah. So here's another example of another AI, Quoso.ai. This is a tool that takes, let's say, like this webinar, and it breaks it up into small media clips that you can share on social media. So, for example, in this one, we uploaded one webinar into Quoso.ai, and it received 15 90-second captioned, brand compliant videos ready for LinkedIn. Zero video editing expertise required. Let's see an example.
So cybercrime costs the world 9 trillion annually. And those are figures from 2023. And I want to put this in perspective. Japan's total GDP last year was $6 trillion. There you go, you get the idea, right?
Yeah, exactly. It takes something that would have taken hours and hours and hours, and you need somebody with video editing skills or somebody who's like a strong tinkerer, hours, and probably still not as good. And it took something and just made it a trivial operation, um, which can make it a lot of fun too, right, Lou?
Yeah. And we did have a lot of fun with this. It was, and again, another game changer for us.
Yeah, exactly. So to give you another example, we all use Microsoft Teams a lot. We're all probably in too many meetings throughout the day. So with Microsoft Teams Copilot, it automatically records, transcribes, and summarizes meetings. That means you can be truly fully present instead of half listening while you're typing notes. And the summary lands in your inbox with owners on each and every action item automatically.
Yeah, and I'm going to say if you're an admin or you are a very busy executive assistant, as most of them are, this is an absolute game changer.
Yeah, really is. Here's another example. Picture it's Monday morning. Your inbox has an unread PDF invoice. An AI plugin grabs the amount, tags the vendor, schedules payment, and files the document, all before you sipped your coffee. Minutes saved compound into hours, hours into strategic projects. There's all these options available to you, though. And sometimes IT feels like they're slowing everything down, especially when it talk turns to AI risk. But it doesn't have to be that way. With the right guardrails and guidance, your company can tap into the latest AI breakthroughs and stay secure, compliant, and ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and there's no reason why you shouldn't start diving into AI right after this webinar if you're feeling energized enough to do so. But it is important to be aware of the pitfalls. And there are three big ones that should always be top of mind. And the first one, no surprise, privacy and security. So, for example, never input client names or sensitive data into public AI tools. If it's not safe to email to a stranger, or it wouldn't be safe in a group email, it doesn't belong in a prompt. You might as well be whispering secrets into a megaphone and then hoping that no one's listening. There's also bias and accuracy. So AI reflects the data it's trained on, which is human context, and that means bias. Also, AI doesn't always know what's true, it knows what sounds true. And I'm sure we've all heard the specific stories of how it can very confidently serve you hot nonsense. So make sure that you're always verifying the output, especially with legal, financial, or compliance related content. Be aware of over reliance. AI doesn't think, it predicts patterns, and that's really powerful, but it still needs your judgment. So make sure that you're using it to draft and not decide. Oh, one more thing. And so I learned this very early on. If you put garbage in, you'll get garbage out. So if your input is vague, unclear, or incomplete, don't expect gold on the other side. AI needs context, direction, and the right prompt to deliver anything useful. And the firms that are getting the most out of AI are treating it like a partner, not a replacement. And they're setting guardrails, they're hands on, and they make sure that they keep the human element in the loop. So, Farzan, what's next for companies?
Yeah, so looking forward, where's AI taking us? Well, predictive analytics. They'll spot risks before they even hit your P&L. AI-driven cybersecurity. If you're a client here with 182, you've seen this in action. Um, Cybersecurity that acts in milliseconds and not minutes. Personalized client service that will feel tailor-made at scale. Workflow automation will string end-to-end processes together, no copy paste required. The common denominator here, they all start with the same small wins we've covered today. So the first steps to smart AI adoption, start with the right question before diving in. For example, what tasks in my role are repetitive, time-consuming, or mentally draining, but don't require deep expertise? Think email drafts, meeting notes, data cleanup, and onboarding steps. Which AI tools are low risk and safe for me to start experimenting with? Look for tools that protect privacy and focus on drafting, not decision making. What guardrails do I need to put in place to protect client data and avoid mistakes? Who reviews AI generated content? What data stays out of AI prompts? Who on our team can own AI exploration, even informally, and help others learn? It doesn't have to be a tech expert, just someone that's curious and process savvy. How will we measure AI if it's actually helping, and when to adjust or stop? Is it saving time, improving accuracy, creating rework? Do we have the right support, or do we need a partner to guide the strategy and implementation? If it feels overwhelming, that's a sign to call for help. All right, so let's land the plane. AI, it's accessible, no PhD required. Start small, pick one repetitive task and automate it. Stay curious, experiment, measure, and refine, and lead intentionally. Provide guide rails so your team innovates safely. If you're thinking, where do I even begin? That's what we're here for. Let us know. We can help you map one quick win AI pilot tailored to your workflow and get that momentum.
Great. Thank you, Farzan. And so we're going to move on to some Q&A. Everyone's been pretty quiet on the who's joined us today, but if you have any questions about anything that we've been talking about today, please feel free to pop them in. We did have some questions submitted in advance of this, though, so I'm going to get to some of those. What is a good first step if we want to start using AI but don't have a dedicated tech team?
Yeah, exactly. So the key thing to think of here is like what Lou was talking about earlier is look at one repetitive task and try to imagine that with AI. And if you don't have an IT team or you're curious if your IT team is the right people to talk to about it, what you do is you just take a conversation with them about AI and see if it's scary, if they're worried about it more than they're leaning in. You really want to work with the team that's leaning in, but is also looking out for your safety as well. Um, if they're being a bit scared about it, then I would caution engaging with that team about AI because they're probably just catching up.
Great. We had another one popped in here. Are there any AI tools you'd recommend for helping with admin or client communication? Good question.
Absolutely. This is actually a great win almost immediately with companies. So I'd say the best tool for that is Microsoft Copilot. And let me tell you why that is. So I think some of us know, but some others don't, that Microsoft Copilot is actually ChatGPT, but it's through the partnership of Microsoft and OpenAI. But the difference here is it's protected. if you buy a corporate license of Microsoft Copilot, you get the power of ChatGPT and automations, but you get to keep it protected under your tenant. And this is really huge for things like intellectual property, information you just would not want to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just had a question come in. One of our slides suggested use of AI to assist with emails. How do we think about cybersecurity, about having an AI tool installed into our inbox?
Yeah, this is a very good
It's a
question.
great question.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so yeah, our emails, I mean, emails contain so much important information and private information. And you have to be really cautious about what AI you would allow to read your emails. You need to think of AI as, in some ways, not all AI, but in some ways, like a Google search. You really wouldn't want to do a Google search on anything confidential like your social security and whatnot. And so regular AI or AI tools that are not protected or known to be safe to use and private, having full unfettered access to your inbox could be quite dangerous. That's why that's another reason when it comes to the corporate environment, we also like Microsoft Copilot, where it attaches to your inbox and is protected by Microsoft. I believe Microsoft has about $100 million bond behind everybody to protecting your data should there ever have been a leak. Yeah. Next
Yeah,
question.
we have another one. How much time should we expect to spend learning to use these tools? Well, I mean, I guess it's what do you want to do and how much time do you want? But I mean, I'm sure you have an answer for that, Farzan.
Right, right. So look, we are introducing what a lot of people, basically the feedback we got was most people don't know where they should be going, what they should be using AI for. They know they need to be using it. They've heard a lot of information. And this webinar is to get everybody started on the right path. Okay. And the key thing here is to focus on small parts that can be turn into an AI benefit. Small things like from writing an email, analyzing documents and contracts, um, various things like that. But the reality is, AI can go so much further in that. And we're doing projects that is so sophisticated. And then you can really go that far. Though, when you're trying to build up your company and your team, especially, that's critically important on adopting this technology, trying to go from, you know, we're just trying to figure it out to a very complex automation. It's generally too much, and it really isn't the best way forward. The best thing to do is actually start small, get everybody or the key people who are going to be using AI to integrate it into the workflow. Make sure it's benefiting, make sure it's doing the promises and you got the right guardrails in place. And then over time, that gets more complex into things like AI agents and automation and there's all kinds of world in AI that can be embraced. But to go from, barely doing it or just kind of checking it out to doing a full-on project with tons of automation, it just really stalls things out actually and slows things down. It's best to go small and then grow from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Start small, build up. We have another question here. Is Microsoft Copilot part of your Microsoft? I'm guessing they mean just integrated
Correct.
into, yeah, or is it a paid edition you need to get?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Mm.
And unfortunately, Microsoft and their infinite lovely marketing that's been going on, they've been confusing everybody, including us. Copilot was its own thing, and then they decided to rebrand everything Copilot. So that got a bit confusing. The reality is, as we all know, Microsoft Office, it's not called Microsoft Office anymore, it's called Copilot. That has like a kind of a miniature version of Copilot in there. The corporate version that you would use in the way we've been talking about would be an additional license, and they're assigned to users. And there's other fees and other licenses to buy depending on how sophisticated you get. I don't want to go too deep dive, but basically, as the evolution of your AI journey as a company goes, agents and automations, things that are kind of happening automatically every day or every time there's a trigger or whatever, um, those have a cost too. And it's basically AI time. So, without deep getting there in there too deep, yes, there is extra licenses and there's extra costs, but it's pretty straightforward and it's part of the journey. It's part of the steps. Yeah.
Yeah, and we leverage Copilot a lot here at 182, and it's pretty incredible. I have another question here. We've been looking for a software for recording meeting minutes. Most attendees are in the office. Is there something you can recommend in the AI space?
Yeah, absolutely. There actually is a lot of ones. I'd have to know the particular of the environment to and make a best choice there because we are cybersecurity focused. But again, I wouldn't let the fear of this technology slow you down. We definitely have to be secure. We definitely have to put guardrails in, but th this is something we all need to charge forward on. Especially if you're here in California, having anything recorded takes there's laws around that. So a quick one I could give you is Microsoft Teams has a phenomenal one. And if you're in a conference room and it's people, and you could even join that conference room to the meeting, even if there's nobody remote, it's going to do everything you want. It's amazing what it can do. The first time you ever record a meeting and have the AI show you what it did at the end, you'll be amazed.
Yeah, and I
Every
think,
meeting note, every action item, who's assigned to it, it's incredible.
right, a real time saver.
Yeah.
I have another question. Can you give an example of a real business use case where AI saved time or improved accuracy?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that area that we all, it's tough. I don't care what company you are, recruiting. Um, Most of the people that are probably on this webinar are in the small, medium business space. We generally don't have dedicated recruiters on staff. It's overwhelming, frankly, especially nowadays. We get so many applicants applying to our ads and things. So first of all, creating a job description, a job scorecard, pricing the role in a particular market. These are all things that AI can do very quickly. Writing the job advertisement. Then this next part is super fun. As the resumes come in, we've all seen it. You get 1,000 resumes, and really there's only like 10 or 15 that are worth looking at.
Mhm.
You can have AI actually take your job description and job role and everything and compare it against every single resume, and it will surface up the best candidates. And it won't just stop there. You can have it provide you great interview questions that you would ask, surfacing up maybe some concerns or if there's a particular strong set in a resume to get confirmation by asking the right questions and making sure it's legit. And then kind of going from our last question, you record it. And when you record it, AI can analyze the interview and surface up all the positives and negatives and even automatically create future interview questions for those candidates. Saves so much time. And even in the end, sending a compelling offer can also be helped with AI.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Farzan. I think those are all the questions. So I think at this stage we'll close out, and I just want to say on behalf of Farzan and me, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. We know how busy things get, and we really appreciate you making the time to join. Today was an overview of everything, and we hope that we have inspired you to kickstart your AI journey or continue on if you're already in there. Our next AI webinar is coming up on July 31st, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into what's possible with some of these tools. So if there is a specific topic that you would like us to explore, we'd love to hear it. And you can drop me a note at louise.lamb@182.com. Again, thank you from me and Farzan. Have a great rest of your day. We hope this webinar was useful for you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.